Battle of Stalingrad was one of, if not the most significant battles fought on the Eastern Front of the Second World War. Fought in the city of Stalingrad in the Soviet Union, the battle was the first time the German Reich had experienced a significant defeat on a grand scale, with an entire German army being destroyed in the city, resulting in millions of casualties and a severe drain of German resources on the Eastern Front. It is summer, 1942. The German Reich and the Axis powers have subjugated most of Europe. The United States of America have just joined the war, and battles continue raging in the deserts of North Africa. On the Eastern Front, the German army, known as the Wehrmacht, had just endured a long and difficult winter after failing to take the Soviet capital of Moscow. Operation Barbarossa had failed to reach its original goals. However, the German High Command had formulated a new plan that would soon bring the Soviet Union to its knees. The plan was to strike south and capture the oil-rich Caucasus mountain region from the Soviets. This was paramount to the Germans, as they were now facing a severe oil shortage, hampering their war-making abilities. If the oil fields were taken, it would allow the Germans to continue their invasion in full, whilst crippling the Soviets. The plan was codenamed Fall Blau. Fall Blau began on the 28th of June, with German panzer divisions breaking through the Soviet lines, advancing several kilometers within the first day. German troops continued their advance to the Volga River. The vast Russian steppe was perfect terrain for the panzers and motorized units of the German army. Soviet units were in disarray. Soviet generals were caught off guard as they had been planning an attack further north, around Moscow. Subsequently, the units in the south were quite under strength and unprepared. In response to the sheer amount of land being lost, Soviet leader Joseph Stalin enacted Order Number 227, the infamous Not a Step Back order. It decreed that Soviet units were not to retreat any further, and that they were to stand and fight. German troops reached the city of Stalingrad in August, and although the original plan called for the city to be bypassed, several German units entered the city in pursuit of Red Army units. The city was bombed heavily from there, turning much of the city and its streets to rubble. The Battle of Stalingrad had begun. The bombardment of the city ended up hampering the Germans more than it helped them, as the Red Army defenders used the destroyed buildings and rubble to their advantage, as German tanks couldn't enter the city to support their infantry, and Soviet snipers picked off the German soldiers in the city. The battle soon deranged into brutal close-quarters fighting, with soldiers fighting house by house, street by street, factory by factory. This continued for several months, all while the stakes got higher and higher. Hitler was now obsessed with the battle. He demanded the city be taken at once, so more and more German forces entered the city, until the only units protecting their flanks were the weak Italian, Hungarian and Romanian units. The Soviets soon noticed the weakening flanks and began formulating a plan to attack the weak units on the flanks and surround the Germans in the city. This is exactly what they did in the final months of 1942, in an operation known as Operation Uranus. Soviet tanks and cavalry smashed through the weak Axis lines and surrounded the city. All German units in the Caucasus were now exposed and were forced to withdraw back to their starting positions, whilst German forces in Stalingrad were now trapped without a hope of being relieved. Hitler demanded they remain in the city and fight. He promised that the Luftwaffe, the German Air Force, could keep them supplied. However, this was not enough, and in February 1943, German forces in the city surrendered the Soviets. Fall Blau had been a complete failure, and the German defeat in Stalingrad was the turning point of the war. Without a steady flow of oil, the German war machine could not function properly, and the Germans didn't perform another successful offensive for the remainder of the war. All whilst the Soviet forces grew stronger and stronger, with new and improved equipment, leadership, coordination, and a new and improved doctrine. From 1943 onwards, it was the Soviets on the offensive. as the Axis powers experienced defeat after defeat at their hands. At Kursk, Bagration, and then finally Berlin. Stalingrad was the beginning of the end for the Nazi Third Reich. Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. I know I don't post that much, but I'm still at school and this is just a hobby for me, so obviously schoolwork takes a priority. Although in 2022 I will try and put out a bit more than just one video a year, although I can't make any promises. Anyway, like, comment, share if you feel like it, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.